Good afternoon. I'm a New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, and we're here today because my office, working along with the New York City Police Department, has broken up a gun-running gang that included people who bought guns in other states, transported them to New York, sold them in apartments, primarily in the Bronx. The leader of the gang is a fellow named William Solar, whose nickname was Redrum, which is murder spelled backwards. We call this Operation Redrum. He was the street boss. The overseer of the whole operation, nicknamed GF for Godfather, was someone named Devin Fairburn. And these gang members were associated with a group that was an East Coast faction of the Bloods, called Red Side. They purchased the guns. We have confiscated more than 90 weapons, including assault weapons and one pistol machine gun. This was a violent drug gang that operated over a period of time. This investigation began last summer, and we had undercover officers purchase 93 different weapons from them at different times, and have now arrested 9 defendants in connection with gun running, and one additional defendant who was working with Mr. Solar and was planning a murder. He was trying to get a weapon to kill a rival gang member. This is an individual who named Eric Ranson, who was in the hospital. He was stabbed and was injured quite severely. As soon as he got out, he contacted this gang and was attempting to purchase a gun. So in addition to the 367 counts we have in the indictment for the gun running conspiracy, we also have counts in a separate indictment of conspiracy to commit murder. Guns like this that are run in from out of state and sold by criminal gangs are the same kinds of guns. And in fact, one followed the exact same pattern. That was the gun used to kill Officer Brian Moore was a gun purchased in a similar way. It was bought out of state and smuggled into New York. People who do this for a living, we are going to pursue as aggressively as we can. Our partners in the New York City Police Department under Commissioner Bratton have been fantastic allies and collaborators on this. We work together seamlessly. I also want to thank the Bronx District Attorney, Robert Johnson, for his cooperation here. As a result of these indictments, most of these folks are facing serious jail time. 5 of them are facing 25 years or more in prison, and it is still an ongoing investigation. The guns were clearly designed for criminal use. 11 of them had their serial numbers filed off, and several of them obviously were illegal guns under New York's strict gun control laws. They were brought in from states where the gun laws are looser. I'm very pleased that my organized crime task force, working with our investigators, has completed this phase of the operation. We have a zero tolerance for guns being sold illegally. We have a zero tolerance for illegal guns. This is the way criminals get guns that they use to murder police officers and to murder other New Yorkers. Gun crime is up slightly this year. The number of shooting incidents is up slightly over last year. We intend to ensure that that is not a pattern that continues, and taking these 93 guns off the street is an important step in that direction. More importantly, taking these 10 gang-affiliated individuals off the street is a very, very important step forward. And with that,
could identify yourself, where you're from, and just on top of that.
Marilyn Chaudhary from Pix 11. Is there any way of saying how much of a dent this bust makes on the entire gun trafficking going on around New York City?
well, this is an important message to anyone who's engaged in this sort of activity, that we will pursue you. The gun smuggling and illegal gun selling business is a big business in New York, but this was a significant operation, and this should have a chilling effect. It certainly has a bad effect on this particular network of gun dealers, the folks associated with the East Coast chapter of the Bloods. So we do think it was a very important investigation in that regard. And obviously this is not the only investigation going on. We had a bust of another gun running ring a few months ago that were smuggling guns in buses into Chinatown and Brooklyn. So this is This is a very important part of our work, of the work of our organized crime task force. We have a zero tolerance for illegal guns. We have zero tolerance for those who smuggle guns and get them into the hands of criminals who use them to commit robbery and even murder. And again, as I said, the gun that was used to murder Officer Brian Moore, tragically, was a gun that was smuggled into New York and sold illegally, exactly as these guns were sold.
For our next question, we have some Spanish language
Oh.
statements.
¿Por qué no? El tráfico de armas de fuego es un asunto de vida o muerte para nuestras comunidades. Las 93 armas recuperadas muestran la gravedad de la actividad criminal del señor Soler y sus cómplices. Tenemos cero tolerancia contra el tráfico de armas. Cero tolerancia contra el tráfico de armas.
Jose Martinez from New York One. Now, you had a press conference last month, I believe it was, where you had heroin being transported on the Metro North trains. This time it's guns. What's going on with Metro North? Are these guys getting wise to the trains, or what's the transit angle here, and what stations in the Bronx were they operating out of?
They operated, it was outside, they operated in the Bronx, but they also operated in Brooklyn and Queens and Westchester. We don't have any particular reason to think that Metro North played any sort of role in this other than being a convenient place because they were moving guns from New England to New York in some cases, and it was easy for them to use mass transit.
Feldman, WNBC. All of these guns, were they purchased legally by these gang members or by some third party, including the machine pistol that I read about? Or were they stolen, or any
Well,
number of them stolen?
we're still investigating some of that. Some of them were purchased legally. Some of them were stolen. We believe that quite a few were bought from other gun dealers.
This has been going on since the summer, your investigation?
Our investigation started last summer. It is very important to note that we wanted to intercept as many guns as possible, but also that if you catch someone for selling more than 10 guns, that raises the offense to a B felony, and they then face 25 years in prison.
And they were used in crimes?
We know that these guns were intended for use in crimes. We're tracking down those records now. At least one of them was, and again, as I mentioned, 11 of the guns had their serial numbers filed off, and that is only done when you intend to use a gun in a crime.
Last one, Jose?
And how did they conceal them on the trains when they carried the weapons in transit?
They were concealing them in carry-on luggage in bags. They weren't transporting dozens of guns at a time, but they were very effective at this. They were doing this for a number of months and are a part of a larger criminal network. We're hoping that this is going to lead us to other leads. We're confident that it is going to lead us to some other leads. But this particular network, Red Side, which is associated with the national gang, the Bloods, has taken a bad blow in its gun dealing operations, and we intend to continue to follow that up.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.